It's hot. It's it's a fucking hot one out today. So I'm getting a little bit more productive this morning. Typically, what I've been doing is I kind of just wake up and sit around for a little bit before I finish my cardio. No, 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 no. No, I'm talking to wake up immediately, immediately hop in the car, 30 minutes seated bike, and then, fuck, man. I mean, if you're feeling particularly productive one day and you don't just sit around, you can get your cardio done and be moving around like you would anyway. So don't get too freaked out. I mean, sure, it is a little bit of a chore, but I really think you should try implementing it. The benefits are innumerable, but today's not about cardio. Today's about chest. Today is about chest. So, playing chest wise, I'm not totally sure. Kind of just see what happens when we get in there. Now, whichever sets I end up doing, I'm still going to push them as hard as I can. But it kind of changes day by day. Like some days I might be in more of a incline barbell kind of mood, or other days I might feel a little bit more inclined to the Smith machine or machine press or dumbbells or whatever else. It's just I wouldn't freak out too much about like really locking into like a repetitive workout routine where the workout is the exact same where the workout's the exact same. It's like halfway to hiccuping. Lift after lift after lift after lift. I mean, I don't see the appeal. You know, I would I'm much more concerned with getting a very wide kind of array of different stimuli, right? So doing some decline cable flies, some cable presses, some machine press, some single arm cable work, doing all sorts of stuff, every movement under the sun that I've got access to, so that none of my lifts are really exactly the same. And then, as long as I'm hitting whatever that targeted muscle is, dude, it's gonna get fucking pumped up. So, and the opposite kind of approach to what I'm thinking there is if all you have is a fucking incline Smith machine at your disposal and some cables, that's more than enough to build a solid chest. Don't freak out about making sure you have to use the brand new Panada incline converging chest press or the fanciest Nautilus, incline squeezing combo fly. It's whatever, man. A lot of really fancy machines are a little bit gimmicky anyway. It's hard to beat the basics. So I'm maybe a little bit more concerned with what kind of music are you listening to and what kind of mindset are you getting yourself into during the workout. If you're now, it's not like every lift I do is like absolutely insane mentally, but I'm usually pretty fucking locked in, regardless if I'm, listening to some old Post Malone albums or if I've got like some Breaking Benjamin or Skillet blaring out of my fucking buds. Either way, I mean, you gotta kind of get a little bit of excitement for each and every set, and it's gonna show. That is going to show for real. The guys who, I mean, I've seen it all too many times. It's, oh, oh man, like, and for the sake of just exercising for exercise's sake, being generally fit, everybody should be in the gym. That's a no-brainer. But when I see guys where I know that they want gains, right? I know that this guy wants to make real gains and go hard. When I see him having a conversation during one of his working sets of like dumbbell curls or bench, dude, come on. I mean, if you're warming up, that's a little bit different. If you're doing warm-up reps, that's a little bit different. But if this is like your second working set and you're talking, you're literally talking with somebody during it, I think that's a little bit too much of a distractor. I feel like you're not really getting into it too much. But yeah, I think nothing else to say. Make this a little quick drive to the gym. But I'm gonna warm up shoulders, triceps, forearms, rotator cuff, everything else, and then we can start movement one for today's chest day. All right, let's not start off too crazy. Well, maybe not moderately light, but reasonably light cable presses as set number 1. So I'm getting some fucking kind of pressing activation. But since the cables are so wide, I still get to really squeeze at the bottom and get a good stretch at the top as well. So a very complete chest movement, I would say. Oh my god. Oh. One more. One more. I think I might try to really vary this workout in terms of exercise selection. Yeah. Oh my god. All right. Let's switch gears. It's been a little while since I've done some Smith bench, and I think I've come to a little realization. I do like slow, controlled reps, especially on the Smith, where I don't have to worry so much about balance. I'm still gonna do some heavy, nasty ones, but really retracting my shoulders, all chest. Yeah, I need to kind of prioritize the form because it ends up just hitting my chest so much better. But let's get in here. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, oh fuck. Whew. One more. Yeah. 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 Okay. Let's do something cable fly focused. Woo. Jesus. It's been a couple weeks since I've done really heavy pressing. 3 plates ain't supposed to feel that heavy. But I did do a few sets of cable shit first, so that's all right. All right, back to Old Faithful. But no more pressing. I'm talking fucking decline kind of focus flies with a, well, let me raise this one more, with a solid stretch at the top. And not that heavy, 30-ish pounds. So I was doing like 60 for the pressing, so almost half. Because the weight's not the point. I'm trying to fucking squeeze. All right. Oh my gosh. One more. Just a touch heavier for this one though. Yeah. That's me, a drop set. Oh yeah. Okay. Whew. I think that's it. A little 6-set chest day and we out. There we go. Chest complete. Some heavy stuff, some moderate stuff, some light squeezing stuff. I mean, pretty much hit it from all freaking angles there. Pretty much hit it every way freaking imaginable. Upside down, backwards, and flipped over. So let's not add any suspense and just see what kind of a result came from it. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh, dude. Holding the vacuum post lift, that is tricky. But a considerable amount of fucking blood flow and just kind of pure mass, the likes of which I fucking like to see. So now all I'm gonna do, go home, eat some more food, get a good night's rest, and fucking repeat. That's really kind of the plan for the next 5 months. And then the only thing that will change once I start trimming down is my main goal is not going to be eating as much food as possible. It'll just be eating in a little bit of a cheeky deficit. So at the gym I was at yesterday, I stopped, I was talking to some guys, and one of them was telling me like, dude, I've been dieting down, I've been tracking my calories, been tracking my macros, but my weight just hasn't been changing. I've been rocking the same fucking weight for the last like month. What's wrong? And it's like, we were talking about it, but if you're not
getting the numeric goals that you're aiming for, and it's very easy to identify when it comes to your body weight. So if in a bulking context, you're looking for weight gain. In a dieting context, you're looking for weight loss. So that's kind of the simplest part about working out is that's a very immediate and direct one-to-one indicator of if you're doing enough. So let's say you're trying to diet down, your scale is not changing. What that tells me and what that should tell you, you got to trim down on the food, man. You got to cut 100 carbs off the top. And better yet, if you're not, you got to start tracking your macros entirely from the beginning. You know, like I've heard guys where they're talking about like, well, just if you're eating clean food, you know if you're eating junk food, so just just play it by ear, kind of ease into it. Like make sure you're not eating any junk. I don't think that's a fucking enough. If I limited myself to just like I don't know, chicken and rice and like some sugar-free barbecue sauce and stuff, and I just ate as much as I was hungry for, I wouldn't get any leaner because I'm just gonna end up eating at my maintenance because I've got free range. Like you've really got to limit yourself calorie-wise. If your cat is getting a little chunky, what do? You give him half a scoop a day instead of a full scoop, or half a scoop each meal. We're not so different, you know, not so different. I mean, we both got fucking paws. I mean, me and you, we've got opposable thumbs, but the basic gist of the biomechanics of this shit can be simplified down very densely like that. And that kind of gets a lot of flack from anybody who's like a real health nutritionist nut because they hate when people say like, oh, it's all about calories in, calories out, because that's, not taking into account like having a healthy gut biome and like the glycemic index of the food that you're eating. Yeah, that all plays a role. But I'm not joking. At the end of the day, a calorie deficit, if you stick to it for real, will work 100% of the fucking time. I guarantee it. I stand behind that 100%. But let's get in the car.
All right. I can tell you two things for sure. My chest is direct, and my legs are still destroyed. I can especially fucking feel my adductors. I knew I would. I haven't really done much. I've kind of been slacking on my adductor game for the last couple of lifts after my leg days. Just kind of getting hamstrings and quads out of the way, and then saying, "Let's go home." Instead of doing my due diligence as a lifter and camping out on the ball crusher for my obligatory, you know, 8 or so sets, very slow, very controlled, very deep stretch. Yeah, so no, you're not gonna catch me doing any extreme lateral speed movements right now. I'm in more of a rest and recovery style mode. But I think yeah, I'm about. I don't want to pull my phone out yet, but I'm about 3,000 calories deep for today, and it's only 4 o'clock. So that's pretty much perfect. So what that means is all I have to do is, before I go to bed, eat another 2,000 calories. I'll probably split that up between about 3 meals, 700 calorie sized ish, because that's about right. It's 700 calories. I mean, that's putting me at about like 80, 100 grams of carbs, 50 grams of protein, and about 10 or so of fats. Like that's a big plate of food, but that's not too crazy. That's very manageable. And when it comes to dieting in a bulking context, one thing that I'm really trying to work on, or at least that I've noticed gives me better results and lets me actually stick to hitting my calorie goals on the regular on a much more consistent basis rather than being a bit more sporadic, it's by having similarly sized meals evenly distributed throughout the day. If you this is one thing which I really need you to take into consideration if you're trying to bulk up. If you want to start eating more, you want to start really locking it in calorie wise, then I'm not joking, you actually have to make it a fucking task to get your food down, because if you don't, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. And I'm not saying this as though I'm all knowing, like I know what I'm doing. Like I get the same fucking problem. If I don't eat my food, I do not grow. The number on the scale does not change. So it's not a bad idea to kind of look at the food as training in itself. I'll sit there and scroll some fucking TikTok Toji edits or some some Demon Slayer hype videos while I've got like a plate of half a pound of ground beef and then 150 grams of carbs worth of like instant oats, which I may not be particularly hungry for, because I'm kind of the whole nature of being in a surplus means you're eating more food than your body needs, but it's kind of just what it takes. And there's no way to really get around that. I mean, there's tips, there's tricks. Like you're not gonna catch me eating a full bowl of like dry rice. Right? All the foods I'm trying to eat now are gonna be a bit more, let's just say, moist, so I don't have trouble chewing them and actually, getting them down. But apart from like, picking specific meals which you don't have trouble eating and you can kind of maybe prep a little bit of, like I've got 2 pounds of ground beef in the fridge right now. I've kind of just been taking a half pound out at once, so it saves me the time of cooking it each individual time that I need it. But apart from little tricks and like, okay, you gotta make sure your kitchen's full of all the food that you need, and if you're gonna be busy this day, make sure you maybe prep like 2 or 3 meals worth so that you have enough food when you're gone, and you don't just kind of go off plan. But apart from that, it's really just you kind of have to suck it up and do it. And that's where if you can have a closer connection with like your end goal and you can kind of understand like this is what I'm doing to reach my goals, then I never have a fucking problem with it. Even when I'm not particularly hungry, if I've got a bowl of fucking 2 packs of rice and then like half a steak or something with like some potatoes on the side, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I don't want to fucking eat this food. Oh, and even if I do feel like that, I'm definitely not gonna tell that to myself, because any negative thoughts that you have are kind of gonna sort of, you know, I don't want to say like manifest, but they'll kind of surface in your actions and kind of how you deal with things. So even if I'm not particularly enthused about my meal, I'm still gonna at least go after it like I mean, not with the same intensity of like those sets of chest, but it is a part of training. So if you can kind of toughen up and lock into it, you're gonna see the results. And that's kind of easy for me to say because I've done it. I've gone through the process of doing it, and I understand. Like, okay, if I don't eat, I will not grow. Like, I understand that on a very deep fucking level because I've kind of lived it, right? But until you've done that, you might not really wrap your head around it. And that's like I'm not saying you don't understand, but there's something about like hearing about like a lesson and actually learning a lesson. When your dad says, "Hey, the roads are pretty wet. Maybe slow down tonight." Okay, yeah, yeah, all right, I'll go a little bit slow. That teaches you whatever. But when you actually take a turn a little bit too fast and you spin out into the ditch, that really teaches you, oh shit, fuck, I gotta, little things like that. So if you can lock into it for at least like 2 months or so, I think that'll be enough time to actually kind of ingrain it into your brain and make you really get it on a deeper level. And bulking wise, dieting wise, same situation. So if your shit is you're on a massive fat loss journey, same thing. It's a little bit hard to get excited about not eating a lot of food and being in a deficit because you haven't really seen the results yet. But if you manage to do it, if you manage to toughen it up for the first 2 months, and you watch the scale go down pound by pound by pound by pound on a pretty linear basis, then that's going to give you the fucking results of your effort. And that is probably the most motivating factor that I know of. I mean, looking back, and well, not even looking back, even looking today, getting to fucking pose down in the mirror after getting a really solid fucking pump after the workout, that's pretty motivating to me. And that has not changed since the early days. Since when I was like a 160 pounder in my school's weight room during my study hall, like doing a side chest in the fucking bathroom. I'm sure if you were to kind of like analyze like the satisfaction that I got, today's lift and that lift way back then was probably about fucking equal. So don't get too don't get too jealous of anybody that's like ahead of you in terms of actual like results, because the enjoyment of chasing the results is the same regardless of how far or how early you are into the process. A good workout is a good workout, whether you're a fucking week 1 lifter or a year 10 lifter. So don't get in too much of a comparative kind of mindset. But let's cut to some kind of meal a little bit later on. Chest good? Ready to chill. I'm ready to probably eat a meal and take a nap. Would not mind a nap right about now.
All right. Back with a vengeance. I'm like, no, that's not even a good way to say it. I'm 100% sure I'm going to catch something. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind with the TikTok shop advertisement videos. It's really getting to me. I'm not loving it at all. And some of the worst ones, some of the ones at least I can speak about the most, are like the True Fit t-shirts and the random, like, form-fitting pants. And the whole shtick of every video is exactly the same. And let's just say I'm not fond of it. Let me try to focus in here. It's perfect. But every video starts pretty much the fucking same way. It's like, oh, do you hate the way your shirts look? Do you hate how small your shirts make you look? Dude, you need to buy our shirt. You need to buy our True Fit, form-fitting Toji classic shirt. Pack of 3 from the TikTok shop, only $6.99, because it'll make you look jacked. Isn't the logic a little bit flawed there? Wouldn't you, I mean, at least for me, wouldn't you want to be like putting in way more effort into actually just being jacked in the beginning? With everything, there is a certain give and take. There's a certain back and forth balance of like extremes. On one extreme, you try to make yourself look as good as possible in every piece of clothing that you wear. That's this side. And then the other side, you dress like you're homeless. You probably shouldn't be over here, right? You gotta dress at least normally fucking well. But it's not that fucking kind of important, And that's where the phrase, the clothes make the man, that may be true, right? That may be true. But your clothes do not make the lifter, right? Clothes definitely do not make the fucking lifter. So I'd be more so concerned with like, okay, I want to look bigger in my clothes. I'm gonna get bigger, right? I mean, if your thing is like to be bigger to gain muscle, it shouldn't that be your fucking primary concern? Because because I feel like anything you do which kind of detaches and like detracts from that primary motivation, it's gonna take you out of the fucking zone. If my main concern is getting bigger, if I want to look bigger, then I'm gonna spend all my time fucking focusing on the gym, focusing on my diet, training hard, everything else, getting a good amount of rest, so that I literally am big. Isn't it a little bit backwards to just try to like, give off the essence of something without actually having it for real? That's like you want a Coke without the sugar. I'm talking some Zizek style thought process there. Like, why do a whole loop go around towards your goal? Just head directly towards it. Sure, it's a little bit harder, but that's kind of that's what gives it its fucking value. Let me give me a second here. I just felt a minor tug. Yeah, fuck it. It's probably nothing. Well, it's probably something, but nothing this exact moment. So let's load up some immediate comments here and try not to get too distracted so I don't fucking miss the first fish. There may be a small hurdle in my plan. I have like negative signal down here. I might have to save the Q&A portion for oh, no, we're good. No, we're good here. All right. Tank17582. I'm actually going to start doing squats because of this fella. And that just gives me feel goods all around. That's the way to do it. Very much so love it. I'm gonna have to scroll down here a couple actually, because I just posted the leg day video, so everybody's gonna be commenting about legs. Let me scroll a little bit deeper. Leg training still. There we go. All right, hello Sam. This is from Kendrick, not Lamar. Kendrick 2469. I started bodybuilding back in February this year, and I weighed 55 kilos at 5'10". I have bulked up to 80 kilos. However, it's been rough, and it's at a point where it's hard to eat and force food down any further. Should I start a cut or main gain? And then in parentheses, natural. A very important differentiating factor to take note of. But let's say you started in February, so it's January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I mean, 5 months of bulking. If you're actually seriously bulking up, I mean, he said he gained 25 kilos. It's like 55 pounds. That's pretty serious. So I think I'd be inclined to say you're probably due for. I mean, it depends on what your weight gaining curve looked like. Because if it was a steady line, so you went from 50 kilograms or 55 to 80 pretty linearly, and then that is now, then I would say maybe main gain for a minute and just like maintain that 80 kilograms. But like most bulks, it doesn't just look like this. It's usually kind of a rapid gain of weight in the beginning, and then it slows down and kind of tapers off, where you're just not really. I mean, two things are going to happen. Your appetite's going to fucking crash because you've been pushing your appetite way too fucking hard with all the food you're eating. Literally more food than your body wants you to. So I think you're probably due for a mini cut. And that's, I don't know this guy's body weight. I don't know this guy's body fat percentage, but it's like, assuming you're not too soft, 2 months of a legit deficit, that should pretty much be able to counteract a moderate bulk. At least for me. Like when I bulk up, I can pretty much undo my fat gain in about 2.5 months or so. But if you really pushed it, if you were really chowing down, then you might need to go a little bit longer, do a little bit more of like a 3-month dieting period. But 55 to 80, that is fucking nuts. That's the way to do it. A real bulking aficionado over here. Let's see what else. Does Sam use some kind of logbook from Jack Beho 9920? Not exactly. Not exactly. I've never been a massive logbook fan. And it's kind of just because I think it's, at least for me, I just don't feel the need to, It's like I kind of know what my strength is at any given moment for most lifts. So if I walk into like the chest day I did today, I knew how much weight I wanted to do and would be about right for those sets of cable flies and cable press and incline bench. Like I didn't really have to reference the log to have to go back and like see just how strong I would be. But I do see the appeal because it is a good documentation of your strength gains over time. And it's kind of a good predictor of like, okay, what kind of set should I be hitting right now based on what I hit last week? Like I'm not dogging anybody for it, but since my sort of approach with lifting is not so linear, because it's always like size gain, strength gain, diet down, strength loss, size gain, strength gain, diet down, strength loss. Like it's always a back and forth for me that I'm not like crazy concerned about making insane like progressive overload gains on every movement. And in a bodybuilding context, I don't think it's really necessary. Now, of course, your strength and size are going to be pretty linear for like the first, I don't know, maybe it's kind of weird to even talk about it as a time frame because it's not. I mean, some guys are going to gain 50 pounds in 2 years, and some guys are going to have trouble gaining 5 pounds in 2 years. So it's kind of hard there. But like I'd say, as you're going from, let's say someone started working out at 160, by the time they get to like 200 at a relatively lean body weight, every pound you get bigger, you should be getting pounds stronger on all your lifts. But the bigger you get in more of like a bodybuilding context of things, like it's not going to translate that way. A guy who's twice as big as me is not benching twice as much weight as me. So the size gain and kind of the hypertrophy side of things, it's not so important to really track the numbers, I think. It's more so I'm just trying to focus on every lift, making sure it's absolutely as intense as fucking possible. And then as long as I do that, then I know I'm on track to making gains. And I can confirm that by seeing the scale go up and up and up when I'm bulking, or go down and down and down when I'm dieting down. But I'm also a little bit spoiled because now that I record literally every day of working out, I kind of do have a logbook. I mean, all these videos serve as like a fucking database of all my workouts and all my sets and all my like weights and everything else. So if I want, I do get to look back and like see how strong I was in January versus how strong I am now. So I guess I kind of do keep one in a little bit of a roundabout way. Not to really dog on anybody that does, but you know, it's not really for me, at least not at this exact current moment. Oh shit, luck's on my side, goddammit. Yeah, that's what I thought. Just a little one. Just a little guy. You know, I was about to say I was gonna leave and get skunked. Nope, not for me. No, no, no. Alright, come on, don't splash the fuck out of me. So I'm not particularly interested in picking this thing up because they've got barbs. I don't know if you're aware. And then they'll, oh, there he goes. But it'll fucking, like, it'll go through your hand. Oh yeah, come on, get out of here. There he goes. All right, that's how it's done. One. Yeah, that's what I thought. Come on, run it back. You ever see the show River Monsters? They're making a season 2, and guess who the host is? I don't want to spoil it too much, but I think you know a certain character I'm talking about. Oh shit, he's already off the hook. Oh man, well I don't want to pick him up. He's gonna stab me. Yeah, fuck, I'll leave him. Well, that's 2. And no slimy hands to boot. I'd call that a successful post-lift excursion, wouldn't you? So let's pack this shit up, go home, and grub. I don't know how much I'll show of this. I might just, honestly, I'll probably just make myself look cool and show the 2 highlights, and that'll be it.